you surprised at the verdict?
I kind of thought that maybe manslaughter would have been the verdict, but I was shocked that they got nothing.
I'm livid, but I'm not surprised.
No, of course not. No.
Oh, I wasn't surprised. I was expecting.
Right. I actually thought they were really going to get him when they threw out that extra thing with the child abuse. I thought that was great. I thought we were going to get him on that, but no.
We've never gotten a verdict. We've never. I can't think of a case where we got a verdict. I don't care how blatant and how obvious the evidence is. There's a young, law-abiding child coming home, minding his own business, talking on his cell phone. He was victimized. He was targeted, victimized, and murdered for no reason.
You weren't surprised?
Oh no, I had told everybody. I had seen his mother and his father on a TV show, and they had said to the audience and to the people, whatever the outcome, we don't want any violence. I said the fix is in.
First of all, two things was definitely there. First of all, his father was a judge. There you go. That's number one. His father was a judge, a retired judge. So already the fix is in. The fix was in. I told my wife either it's going to be a hung jury or a acquittal. She was very surprised. I mean, you can look at our history, Amadou Diallo, Rodney King. If that beating wasn't on tape, then the feds wouldn't have stepped in. You remember, he was acquitted in the state trial. These states are filled with racists. And the fact that the judge at the beginning of the trial took the word racial profiling out, that was not allowed to be spoken of. You should have known then that the fix was in.
I think that this is an important issue for us all to gather around. Of course, we have to express our anger, but after the anger has settled, what are we going to do to change legislation? Because the bottom line is that there is a law in Florida that says if someone feels threatened, they can kill you. We as people of color need to change legislation. We need to go to the courthouses, we need to go to lawyers, we need to go to judges, and we need to figure out how to have legislation protect us.
The question becomes, we are angry, we are frustrated, but that anger and frustration has to be translated into a concrete action plan. Otherwise, to say resist is just that. You know what I mean? So I think we have to be prepared to give people instructions. So I think that Charles Barron's speech today, I thought I was really in agreement with, because I'm arguing and advocating that nationally we organize a boycott, an economic boycott of Florida. And we do two things. We encourage people in Florida to register to vote as never before, number one, because you can begin to, in certain of those districts, begin to get rid of some of those reactionary politicians. And secondly, inflict pain, because the NAACP is meeting there right now. They're spending millions of dollars. I understand that Black Enterprise has a major piece. There's a couple other Black Film Festival. These, we need to stop doing business in places that are harming us. And the goal ought to be to change the stand your ground law. That's the target. And you take one state at a time. So if there's another state that has stand your ground, you organize a boycott against them.
People need to understand, and I think we do, that it's going to take one of these instances before there's a powder keg explosion and we really rise up. Trayvon Martin's case is a clear case of not only a miscarriage of justice, but a clear case that America needs a revolution, a radical change in its system. So when they do this, remember Brazil, they just raised the bus fare 9 cents and the whole country rose up, and now they're in revolutionary mode. We are going to stop this inevitably because they're too stupid, arrogant, and racist to even give an inch. There's no justice for black people through the system. It reminds me of the Dred Scott decision in 1857, where it said blacks have no rights that whites are bound to respect. That is still true to this day. Michael Vick went to jail for killing dogs. Mexico, a football player went to jail for shooting himself. But a white man can shoot us, murder us, and walk. 50 bullets. Sean Bell, they walked. 41 bullets. Amadou Diallo, they walked. Brother in Oakland, California, Graham, shot him in handcuffs, they walked. Look at Ramali Graham in the Bronx, shot him in his house, they walked. I can go for the rest of this interview giving you a litany of people murdered by the police department and they walked.
God is my witness. If the roles were reversed, if I shoot a white person tonight, I'm going to jail immediately. It ain't 45 days. It ain't 20 days. They're gonna search for me. My aunt, my cousin, every house they know I live in, I've been in, every girlfriend, maybe 10 years ago. But they're coming to get me if I shoot a white man. But if you shoot a black man, you walk around for 45 days like nothing going on. But intentionally, like, fuck you black. Like, fuck you little nigga.
And then you take race out of the case. You take race completely out of the case. When in fact we know that he was racially profiled. What do you mean he was criminally profiled? He was racially profiled. But to the degree that they were reluctant to do that, it says that it also speaks to the fact that race in America no longer matters. We have got to make it matter because we do not live in a post-racial society.
All these years and all that, there's no respect still. It's still like we soft. Or they don't know we're going to talk and walk all day. We don't do nothing. No rocks thrown. No. If it was Serbia, Egypt, all these overseas Middle East countries, third world countries, they do things. Face around, mask around your face, shirt around your face, get a rock, start throwing things at, you know what I mean? Until we start doing that, they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
I think we have to be honest with our nephews, our sons, our brothers, our fathers, and we need to let them know that how other people see them is not the way we see them. We see them as valuable. We see them as men who can contribute to society positively. But that doesn't mean the person on the corner sees you that way. We need to teach them how to protect themselves in a society that does not honor their lives.
And when we see our young men being abused or misused, we've got to intervene. When we see our police officers stopping them and frisking them, we've got to intervene in whatever way we can. What I do, if I'm with Charles, is no problem because he jumps out and makes himself known. If I'm by myself, I use a little more wisdom and take out my camera. And when it's over, I give my card to the young man and I say, I'm Assemblymember Inez Barron. This is my card. You want me to give my evidence, my testimony, and share what it is I've seen, I'm more than willing to do that. So we've got to know that they're important. So many times they choose not to pursue it. But the fact that we interact with them in a positive way lets them know that they're valued and valuable. So we've got to continue to do that for them.
As former members of the Black Panther Party, we understand it very clearly. We're still here doing what we have to do, but we understand what's happening. The only thing we're saying to our young people, don't do nothing foolish where this beast will go out on you, because they want you to do this. They're prepared for you to do something. Get yourself together. Bring yourself together first. Remember who you are first before you do anything. Just keep that in mind.
So it's ridiculous in my heart. I'm still angry. The ways that I'm coping with my anger is I did the march yesterday, and I'm out here doing this because I have so much anger inside. I just have to put it towards something positive, and that's me coming out here using my own money to fund this and handing out these flyers. So the first flyer that I have, it's Trayvon Martin Civil Court, and this is something I received in an email that I printed up, and I thought that, our people, we have to get out here and give them this information. Some of them don't have computers, some of them are older and they don't have computers. So this is something that we have to inform them of. And this is just so you can go to the NAACP website and sign it, go online, fill out the form and sign it so we can take this to civil court. And then the other form that I have here is something that we discussed at the march, and that's the boycott Florida. So this gives all the information on places that we need to avoid and not be affiliated with so we can boycott Florida effectively.
I told the people in my building, I live on 137th Street, I said, don't buy nothing. Pay your rent and buy toilet tissue and food. That's what you do. So you can wipe yourself and eat. And have a shelter over your head. That's what you do. Don't spend a dime here. This shouldn't have nobody going, these stores here, shut them down. And nobody should go to Florida. And I don't just mean Sanford, Florida. I mean Florida, period. The planes should be deterred from there. Nobody going to Florida. Nobody. Disney World shut down.
You can kick a dog and end up spending time in jail, and white people can kill black people and just go home with impunity.
That Michael Vick game with that dog, you follow me? That comparison for somebody to go to jail for killing a motherfucking dog, a motherfucking dog, not a dog, a motherfucking dog, and for a man to get killed and do no time, that says too much to me. The man went to jail for a dog. This man don't get nothing. Nothing. Get to walk away for killing this young boy, for walking home. And this is the part that they miss in the court case. I don't give a what y'all say. As soon as your white ass start following me, that's where the problem is at. That's where it starts at. As soon as you start following me, I got all the right in the world to take your head off.
Yeah, and he was defending himself.
I'm defending myself. I'm first, motherfucker. Don't follow me nowhere. I got Skittles and a motherfucking iced tea, and I'm going home. And I want to make it home. I want to see my mother, and I want to see my father. If you follow me, and you're supposed to get out the car, first of all, whiteys are scared of blacks. So the only way a white man gonna follow you is with a gun. Whitey is scared of blacks. You hear me? I walk downtown right now. I scare the shit out of white people. I walk on 50. I scare the out of white people. When I cross the street, they lock their mother doors. I'm just going to Dr. J's. But if I get too close to the car, click, click, they lock the doors. The only way a whitey, look at me, I'm super black. Ain't no white man in his right mind gonna follow me without a gun. You understand me? Without a gun. You understand? So that's what that comes down to. Soon as you start following me, I got all the right. God said I got the right. Your justice system. God said I got the right to take your head off because you're following me. And guess what? I'm afraid. And I'm going to stand my ground. Follow me, follow me. Follow me through the woods and act like, oh, I'm be scared for a minute, but I'm going to put the Skittles down. I'm going to put the motherfucking iced tea down. And I'm going to take off your motherfucking head. You know why? Because I'm not going to give you the same chance that Trayvon had. I'm going to kill you first. Have a nice one, mama.
Okay, have a nice one, y'all. What kind of dog was that he said? Obviously, emotion is like sky high over the Trayvon Martin case. And understandably so. What happened in Florida was unbelievable. I mean, it was beyond a travesty of justice. I am fortunate to have some of the finest producers anywhere in the world, and they bring this show to you, and I sit here and it seems like I'm somebody, but I ain't nobody. I'm just a guy in the seat. I'm like JT. I got Cool with me. That's Veronica. Veronica went out and shot that footage. Veronica Keitt has been everywhere. But I just want to let you know that I am blessed before we even start this. And we expect a call from Charles Barron sometime around 2:30 because he was at the Central Park 5 jogger case, which was also today. There is a lot of turmoil in our community right now, and it's all coming to a head. Ramarley Graham, Constance Malcolm, their mother told me that they just got the case put back on the docket after they had thrown the case out of court on some sort of strange technicality. But the whole justice system has spit in our faces. The political system has spit in our faces. And we have a lot of things coming up. We're going to start off, and I'm going to talk to Veronica. Somewhere in here, it might be a little chaotic because we expect Shaka Shakure to come in, and he's in charge of the coordination of the Million Youth March this year. And for the first time, there's a lot of blacks who were opposed to each other ideologically, who are all coming together. I mean, I know old black heads who have called Jay-Z everything but a child of God, you know. And, but I think parenthood brings out some stuff in you. And also the Trayvon Martin case was a wake-up call, because you cannot deny by any stretch of the imagination that your money does not save you from white supremacy. Your celebrity does not save you from white supremacy. It could easily have been Jamie Foxx or Jay-Z or me or anyone else who was had his hood up in the rain, in the dark, and been accosted, and the system itself would pretty much say that we deserve to die because we are black and blacks are doing stuff to people, you know. So we're gonna talk about this. I want to get Veronica's take on the events, because, as always, she is the road warrior of the crew. I used to be a contender, and I'm gonna have them like play with my knee and pump my knee up and push me back out into the field, because I'm not used to hobbling around while the rest of the team goes out and makes history. With that, if Deshaun or Richard back there as my opening ready, they're going to open us up, and when we come back, I'm going to be coming back with the one, the only, the inimitable Veronica Keitt, and we're going to talk about what she did, what she saw, and what's coming up in the near term. Bam! Where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. Mm-hmm. And that just drives me crazy. We're probably coming up on the middle cam while he, oh, he's back. Go on, brother, you kind of fast there. We have, as I said, my producer, my cohort, my friend, the head of the VK Report, the head of the People's Film Festival. The brains, the heart, the soul, the drive of this this organization, this thing of ours, like they say in The Godfather. Veronica Keitt.
Thank you.
Veronica, you were there, and so you were like in the center of all of this emotion, all of this frustration, and there's so many things that has just like been heaped upon people of color in general, but black people specifically in this country. Give us some insight on what that was like.
You're absolutely right. It was powerful in a sense, but one of the things, like you mentioned, there are so many different levels that we are looking at that's conjuring up different emotions from different people of color, even white people. I mean, everyone has been affected by this case. Trayvon Martin shot down a law, stand your ground, which justifies the shooting, and this man walks. So there's been outbreaks throughout the city of New York and throughout the country. People had protesting, voicing their opinions, very upset with this law, which I hope at some point will be they will throw it out. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's almost equivalent to our stop and frisk. But I went to 125th Street in Harlem the day after the verdict, and people were upset. And it's interesting because I saw on a couple of the stations, maybe only New York one, which is, you know, pretty diligent when it comes to that, really getting out there and speaking to the people. And I said, well, this is not enough information. I said, people are talking. I said, let me go out there and let me see what else they're saying. And so that was a part of it. That you saw. We saw the young man at the end, and he was very upset, but he wasn't the only one upset. There's more. There's more people. And one of the things that we're hearing, the general consensus is boycott. Hit them in their pocket. Take away hit them economically, because when we think about when they boycott the Montgomery boycott, and they brought the bus company to its knees, literally by not, riding that bus, they're saying that we can equally do that in the state of Florida. Boycott everything that's from Florida. I heard that Stevie Wonder actually said that he's not going to Florida at all for any shows or anything until they get rid of this law.
And there's, not to cut you off, but it's been reported that a whole slew of artists, have including the pretty boy Marvin, gay white boy Justin Timberlake himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But again, I just have some.
But everybody is
I can't say that
impacted by
definitively.
this,
But there seems to be. Well, you got Jay-Z involved in this thing, and Jamie Foxx. But there seems to be a whole slew of performers who have been reported to have canceled tour dates and everything in Florida.
Wow. And that was one of the things. People were concerned about what is the hip-hop community doing, what are the celebrity community doing. This issue transcends across all races, all ethnicities, all, and if we want to even throw in occupations and jobs and celebrity status, because it's real. No matter what they say in terms of it being the law, the law is not correct. It's equivalent to Jim Crow laws, whereas you couldn't get out there and vote and things like that. And they had legislation that said you can't do it, and if you violated, I mean, it was worse than that. You were actually being lynched. But this is what we're up against, and this archaic law that is so hurtful, that is used today, 21st century, whereas you can basically shoot someone and walk. It's mind-boggling. So when I went out there and I spoke with the people and I was asking them, basically just hearing what they were saying, everyone was upset. Everyone. I was out there with Sharp then, and they were at One Police Plaza this past weekend. Right. And Sabrina Fulton,
you're right.
The mother of
Trayvon Martin's mother.
Was there, and she spoke out and very, very upset. But the interesting thing is, and this is something that the interesting thing is when you have incidents of police brutality where mothers lose their sons, the other mothers of police brutality or just victims of violence come out and support. So I saw Miss Diallo there, Kadiatu Diallo, Amadou Diallo, if you recall, 41 shots. She was there. Sean Bell's mother, 50 shots. She was there. Ramali Gray's mother, she was there. Cheyenne, she lost her son, 4 years old, in Brooklyn just recently last year. She was there. There were so many mothers there.
I pray one day I was here for the support for her, and I know how she feels because it happened to me, it happened to her, you know their names, it happened to her. So I just pray that something will get done one day, and I hope I'm alive to see it. But if justice not here on earth, it is definitely in heaven.
The Trayvon Martin tragedy is the result of many injustices, racial profiling and stereotyping of our young male. That's what led to his death. I believe that evening, Mr. Zimmerman saw him not as a regular young man, saw him, apprehended him, and stereotyped him as a criminal, and that led to his death. And I know you remember in February 4th, 1999, my son was coming home that night, and the four civilian with civilian clothes, 4 white police officers driving a unmarked car, apprehended Amadou. They also profiled Amadou and stereotyped him as a criminal, even though he was going in his own home. After that, Sean Bell, we know all these stories. We can call all the victims that keep on killing, stealing from us, keep on happening. Since then, we are fighting, and this time, I hope that the energy will translate into something that can be concrete.
As a mother and now a grandmother, there's nobody could express the pain of losing a child, especially to violence. It's one thing when you lose a child to a sickness that you can't help, but when somebody so violently take your loved one, that's a pain you cannot understand.
Yes. Is there a way to prepare our kids when they go out in the street? What do we say to our sons?
You know, people say that every day. I hear people say it's the way you bring your children up. Look at the Ramali Graham, how they busted in his house and shot him down right in his house. Look at Alberta Sproul, who was getting up and going to work. There's nothing you could tell people that will protect them from these killer cops. Because once they get the urge or the idea of let's go do some damage, which is on a regular basis, they're going to do it. I fear for my kids. Every time somebody knocks on the door, I don't know if it's a cop coming to my door or if I answer the phone, is it a cop telling me something? That's the life I live today because of what happened to my son Malcolm.
It's real hard to even answer that question because even if you raise your kids right, even if you raise your kids right, there's no telling that somebody else is not going to raise their kids wrong, or that child might have not went down the wrong path and still spill into your life. So I can tell them, or we can talk about college from 4 years old on, but if somebody comes upon them who didn't have the same backing or the same growing up as my own son or her son, it's no telling. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Basically, the justice system is telling us whether we walk or we run, we're still going to get gunned down either by the police or wannabe cop. Basically, that's it. No matter how you grow your child, it's always going to be a possibility. And the system is not sending any message to the people of color. That's the biggest mistake it is. We are not getting any justice, whether in the court or on the street. It doesn't make any difference.
I think this weekend was very powerful to see Reverend Al Sharpton out there, to see Judge Mathis. Oh my goodness, powerful.
This has been, it's like there's so much stuff that has been heaped upon black people specifically, poor people especially, people of color who are poor. Specifically, and poor people, But as far as black people, there has been an attack that has come from all sides. It has come from the very political structure of the Republican Party. There has even been people who are deemed to be more aggressive, who have sort of looked over the black community for a more progressive agenda, for lack of a better phrase. And Republicans have seemed to have built a movement around racism and intolerance that they unabashedly use in their platform. I mean, and they have justified the stopping and the frisking of Mayor Bloomberg and Ray Kelly.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Really believe that they are justified, that the plan is to stop and detain 750,000 black people in a single year, black males in a single year, spend millions and millions of dollars in this effort to do this, vilify black kids for basically doing the same thing that the last 3 presidents, most of the New York Knickerbockers, and Mayor Bloomberg himself is admitted doing, basically smoking weed when you're young. And they vilified them. They say that they're basically marked for death and, and incarceration forever and the loss of all their rights for doing some stuff that, white kids do all the time. You know, it's just wild oats.
I mean,
to
look,
white,
we had
to
President Bush, and he said that he did. And
President,
when he was young, he was
Bill
30.
Bradley said he loved him some weed. Bloomberg himself said he smoked weed.
That is so sad because I know
everybody smoked weed.
Like if you had an experience or you tried it
They
and
would
then
say that you thought about smoking weed.
I love me.
You're black.
Oh,
You're black.
hell.
You're black.
I don't even drink.
But this is the problem. This is the problem. It is not what you do or do not do.
Right.
They vilify you irrespective of what you have or have not done.
Like Trayvon Martin.
Like
they went on his Facebook and they found these pictures and everything, and I was like,
listen, I got Taylor Swift has put on hoodies and made little gang signs and whatnot at her little country.
Rihanna.
Yeah, it's not even a thing. It's almost
Miley Cyrus
almost a part of Americana. My little grandkids, and they like so square and suburban and whatnot, my granddaughter won't let me drink a beer without I smell it. Yeah.
Good for her. Good, we love you.
But they have vilified. They are so used to vilifying black youth that they actually said that. And this is Sean Hannity. He's supposed to be like a journalist. Well, at least a television personality. We'll get on TV and say some stuff about Trayvon Martin smoking weed before, and there was no evidence of that. What they reported was that Trayvon Martin had trace amounts of marijuana in his system. Trace amounts is not smoking weed that night. Trace amounts could be like a month ago.
Yeah, because it'll stay in your body for a month or 2 months, depending on
I mean, that was so irresponsible, and to say that as if it's sort of in some way justified, his murder was just.
Well, in the past they've done that. They'll assassinate a person's character, because I never forget with Doris Mon, and they just pulled up, and that was purely an innocent.
Correct.
And they will assassinate your character, and that becomes a justification for what. Well, when he was young, he did so and so.
Right.
And I don't think that's for Basil Patterson. He said, you don't hang that on them for the rest of their life. For the less, for what? Why? What is
for money?
Yeah,
for them, because with Giuliani was to maintain power and justify his positions. With Sean Hannity is to get ratings so he can make millions and millions of dollars a year. With Ray Kelly and Michael Bloomberg is to justify their own position so that they can have a legacy and Ray Kelly can advance his political career.
Wait a minute, I'm not even
Charles Barron in there, and we talk about the Central Park Five. Those people lied and did everything they could to frame these kids, and those kids lost going on 20 years of their lives, their futures, everything. A couple of those kids were like geniuses. When you hear Ray Santana or Yusef
and he was out there. We actually interviewed him.
He was great things with that time. It's no telling how far they could have gone.
Yes, and one of the things he mentioned, because we actually interviewed him, and he said this is exactly what happened to us, and he said he was relived what Trayvon went through.
It took me back to when we was convicted as young boys. I relate to Trayvon on a great deal. Me and him went through the same thing. He was vilified as a villain in this case, with the weed and with the hands on Facebook. And it's the same thing they did to us. There were 400 articles written on us within the first 2 weeks that dissected our lives. People called us urban terrorists. They called us wolf pack. They called us rapists. And this destroyed us. This took away our childhood, which is the same thing they did to Trayvon. He was victimized twice by the media and then also by Zimmerman himself, who ultimately took his life.
But I tell you, it was such a powerful day to be out there and no one moved. It was hot. We were all burning up. But it was a powerful day just to see the energy and feel the people and speak to the people in the different responses. I thought it was just so powerful. I said, wow.
And caller, I don't know if you can hear me. We're in a new studio. We've done everything on the fly. We had absolutely no time. So, with all due respect to the staff that is facilitating this and the technical people who have done a tremendous job getting us up and running, they're still pushing buttons. So you'll come through as soon as they can get you through.
Yes, caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Well,
All right.
as soon
as they get the speaker system
say
and
hello.
all of that stuff, just chime right in and we'll get you. We should hear the speakers, I guess.
Yeah.
But I threw you off again.
No,
That's
but what are
I'm
your
famous
thoughts about
for.
the
People
fact
are
that
cussing
everyone
me
is
out
talking
that.
about boycott?
I think it's an exceptional strategy. I think that it's time that we actually exhibited power. I think that we should use targeted boycotts. I think if we go all over the place, we actually are not effective. But if we just target one thing,
one area,
one thing, and bankrupt its ass, everyone else will get in line.
You know what's interesting is that during the Diallo movement,
just don't buy Tropicana juice.
Yeah.
If you bankrupt Tropicana juice, everybody else will take notice. So just
pick a location.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that says Disney.
Pick a deer and hunt it.
And then I heard someone says no more Mickey Mouse, but I don't know. But anyways, hello, caller.
Yeah, they're still messing with it. They got you going. Look at them all. Hello. No. Yeah, caller. We're still trying. Let me see if I can find Barron. We're running out of time. I don't even know if we'll be able to get it, Barron. And I would love to hear about what is going on with the Central Park jogger trial.
Yeah, because that case is going on as well. And like you said, there's so many things, so many different issues that are happening in our communities that are affecting us on different levels. And one of the things that happened, and I was going to mention during the Diallo movement, was hello? Yes.
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, Veronica Keitt, how are you?
I'm great.
Right, Nat Wood.
Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. I just want to give a shout out to Veronica. I don't know what goes on in your mind. I couldn't imagine. You are one powerful lady. How you put all these.
Yes, she is.
I want to give a shout out to you. And
thank you.
You guys are great. But I'll get to the this Trayvon thing. Do you think? My question is: do you think that it was a slap in the face that Obama nominated Ray Kelly?
Wow.
Homeland
You can
Security,
turn it up just a little bit in there. The speakers,
right
just a
after
little bit.
The verdict of Trayvon Martin.
Yes.
And what kind of message it is saying, even though Obama hasn't said anything about black folks for 5 years, and the little speech he said about Trayvon was all the wonderful bamboozle dance
on the show.
And this stop and frisk thing, this renegade stop and frisk rogue plan, and now to bolster Ray Kelly at the forefront. I mean, a friend of mine, I've spoken to a friend of mine, and the reaction he gave me, and he's an older brother than me, wiser, he said he was afraid, and I've never heard him say something like that. So my question is, what does that say to the Trayvon Martin family? And also, I also think that Mrs. Fulton, whom my heart goes out to, I think aligning herself with Al Sharpton was a dangerous move. And we've seen it over and time again with the presence of Al Sharpton. And even Obama stating that Ed Koch, and I'll say this, and he said Ed Koch was a wonderful mayor and Doomberg was a wonderful mayor. These are things that are very, very disgusting. Very disgusting. Hotep, reinstate automatics. I love you, Veronica Keitt.
Thank you.
Be well.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna have
gonna
a
swap
switch.
out. I'm gonna say something real
I'm
quick.
I'm gonna bring Shaka Shakure in, but I want you to have like a minute to
to
address
wrap
this
it up.
question.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And okay.
Yeah. What was so interesting is that was a question I posed to a lot of people while we were out
put
there
Veronica
that particular
on.
day.
Put Veronica
and
on.
so
Hold up, you guys.
And so
Yes.
And so I thought that was really interesting.
See me on the TV.
I didn't know that Obama had nominated Kelly. I know he said that he was a fine person or whatever,
Okay,
but I spoke with various different people, and basically what they were saying was that if we allow Kelly to come in and if we allow Kelly to become Homeland Security, then we're duplicating what he has done in New York City with the stop and frisk. And they said that they're afraid. And I posed that question to different people, different colors, ethnicities, hues, and they all said no way. But on the other side, I had people, especially black men, they were saying, it was bold of President Obama to say what he said, even Malik Shabazz, the new Black Panther Party, and he says, I don't usually support him, but he said I was with him on that one. So I thought that was really interesting. But we're getting ready to do a swap.
Yeah, we're going to do a swap. You got me on there. I'm going to bring, you just walk on by. You're
I'm just going to walk on by.
You
got your mic?
Go around that camera, Shaka, and Veronica will put that,
keep talking. I'm
that mic on you. We're switching. We got a bunch of calls on hold. We also have Charles Barron on, so you can put Charles Barron through because we're running out of time, and I really want to talk to the councilman because he was at the trial of the Central Park Five. And we're going to bring Shaka Shakure on. Shaka is the head of the People's Survival Program. And he's also in charge of the coordinating committee. He'll tell me the exact title for the Million Youth March this year. So put us on the two camera. Put us on the two camera. Yeah, you might as well see him. We're doing this in plain sight, so we might as well stay in plain sight.
Oh man.
Let me slide over here. I'm all broke legs. Good. So I was getting ready to. Yeah.
Say hello to Charles Barron. He's on.
Councilman.
How are you?
Oh, thank you for calling in. We need your input. You were at the trial today, the hearing today. Is that correct?
Well, my staff went over to the hearing today. Not a whole lot happens in these preliminary stages of the Central Park. You're talking about the Central Park 5.
Correct.
Yes, they usually don't do a whole lot of things. There's a lot of preliminary motions and things that need to happen. We just need to stay with it so that people don't think it's dying down as an issue and keep the courtrooms packed. When the trial comes with the substance that has to be dealt with, we'll have some momentum and people will be used to coming.
Okay, Councilman, let me ask you this. There is so much coming down on the black community right now that it is almost insurmountable. When you look at stop and frisk, when you look at Ramali Graham, when you look at Kamani, when you look at Trayvon Martin shot down like a dog and just maligned. When you look at what they're doing with the Voting Rights Act and the way they're the things that are being done in this city alone in terms of the education system, and the fact that, as the caller mentioned before, that the people who are at the center, at the hub of black oppression, of white supremacy, seem to be rewarded, a.k.a. Ray Kelly. Give us your take on some of this. Where do we go from here? What should we do? What should be our response?
Well, this is nothing new. This has been happening to us ever since we've been here. We got to realize that it's time for black people to be engaged in a protracted struggle, not crises management. Like as soon as an event happens, a crisis, we all march, go crazy, and then go back to business as usual. We have to be involved in a sustained struggle. This is why Martin Luther King called for a radical rearrangement of the political, social, and economic order in America. This is why Malcolm X was talking about revolution in America. We have to get to systemic change. It's not about Zimmerman. It's about a system that had an all-white jury, one juror unsure of her identity, which is insane in the 21st century, and a white judge, a white prosecutor, and even though they put enough out for a second-degree murder, they bungled it enough to have a reasonable doubt, and a white defense and a white community that came up with a white decision. This says to me that we haven't gone past the Dred Scott decision in 1857, where Judge Robert Taney said that blacks have no rights that whites are bound to respect. So we have to get busy. We have to get busy. Most of us should be a part of some organization, pick your own, and we should definitely get involved in the electoral arena where some power is, so that we can have some power in our communities to make the changes that need to be changed.
In order for us to get involved in the electoral process, we have to actually do what you suggested, become more politically astute.
Right.
Which means that we also have to get involved in jury selection. We cannot simply allow black people to like go to this monster's ball that they call a justice system, you know, and basically deliver ourselves in the hands of Pharaoh, who has prejudged us guilty, you know, when we're still in our mother's stomachs.
Well, you know, even the prosecutors allowed for the jury to be all white. And then, see, we have to realize that in this country, we have to mobilize and organize our people to engage a massive uprising.
Right.
We've never achieved anything legislatively. We've never achieved anything legally with a massive protest movement. And, you know, sometimes they think they're getting over, they think they're winning, and it looks like, oh, my God, you know, they're coming at us from all fronts. But they're only setting the climate for a radical change in America. Look at Brazil. They were exploiting Brazilians for over decades, racism, and for decades. One incident where they raised the bus fare by 9 cents. Now there's 1 million Brazilians in the street, and they're talking revolution. It takes but one spark, and I just believe that that spark is going to come to America. You can't keep oppressing people. Even white people are oppressed in America under capitalism and its class system. That's why you have a middle class. Half of them get angry because they can't pay the rent anymore, and they join the Tea Party and blame us for their failures and the system not supplying them with what they need. The other half of the white middle class get angry, and they blame the rich and join the Occupy Wall Street movement. So, you know, movements are rising up in the United States, and they suppress themselves. They come up and down. Pretty soon there will be a spark. That's why we have to stay at it. We have to join organizations. We have to protest. We have to vote. We have to pull our resources together and build our own institutions. And some people are talking about separating from this nation and are more nationalistic, like the Nation of Islam and Republic of New Africa and new groups. They need to do that. And then those of us who are revolutionary nationalists who believe that there should be a radical change in the system, we should continue that. But it can't be just issue to issue.
Councilman, hold on for just a moment. We got 2 calls on, and I also want to hear from Shaka Shakure about the upcoming Million Youth March and what he's doing with the People Survivors Program. But if it's possible, I don't know. We're like doing this, you know, by the skin of our teeth. If it's possible, keep Councilman Barron on the phone and allow one of the calls to come through. Maybe they can address the question to Councilman Barron while we have him on the phone.
No problem. I can do that.
Excellent, okay. Excellent. So while we're waiting on that, my brother, you came at the last minute. You are so busy, so occupied in the struggle. Quickly, and before the show is over, I'm going to let you get a little more detail. But let us know about the upcoming Million Youth March and what you're doing with the People Survivors Program and how we can join in that.
Well, just to start, the Million Youth March, the People Survivor Program, we signed on to help organize it. That's September 7th. It's actually 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's not just the march. On the 6th, we're talking about developing programs and some real substantial learning.
Really more detailed than thought out.
It's not just going to be that one day of marches, because we've had 1,000 of those.
Right.
So we agreed that we're going to have the 6th. There'll be workshops tentatively scheduled to be at the National Black Theater. And then on the
Excellent.
8th, I believe we organized it to be at the theater again.
Excellent.
So we'll have panel discussions. We'll have workshops where people will be coming in, teaching those skills.
When all else fails to organize the people, conditions will. And,
Exactly,
and we seem to be coming together a lot better than ever before. If you have those calls, Deshaun, see if you can put the caller through.
I've got a brother on right now you can talk to.
All right.
And the councilman is on as well.
Excellent. Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Let me tell the caller to speak. Hello, caller.
Hello.
I can hear him back there, but he's not coming through here.
Yep. Hello.
So, Councilman, while we're waiting on that call to get through, I don't want to just let you linger in limbo. What do we have coming up now? The first caller, I don't know if you could have heard him since you were sort of entranced, but the first caller alluded to the fact that there are difficulties within certain political groups and entities, and he mentioned the Reverend Sharpton specifically. This show does not really get into attacking any group, irrespective of what people say or what may or may not be accurate. But I really think that in these times, and you can interject on this because I'm sure that you have had some political differences with other groups. But I think that right now we need to come together as a fist, because one of the things that I believe has really hindered us is the fact that we spend so much time, fighting each other. I also got some stuff on the that machine there, teleprompter. So while I'm reading this thing, Councilman, if you're there.
Well, you know what I feel about unity. I no longer have this naive notion that all black leaders and organizations are going to unite and we're going to be delivered through that kind of unrealistic unity. I think that there's the leadership that will emerge. The masses of our people will make history. It is the masses of our people that will make the difference. The masses of our people are far more intelligent than what you will ever give them credit for. They can see through phoniness. They can see through opportunism. They can see through ego trippers. They can see through people who have access to power and are not delivering anything but photo ops for themselves or benefits for themselves, or elected officials who are not delivering anything and only come around election time and only doing things to get reelected. The masses will see that, and what's going to emerge is those who are authentically coming from the masses, who are in the streets with them, not public intellectuals that only sell them books and do lectures for them, and they see them on TV, but they never see them in the neighborhood. It is those who are in the neighborhood with the masses, those who are authentic, those who are meeting needs, whether it's housing, clothing, shelter, or whether it's jobs. Those are the people that are going to affect the masses of our people. Some of them, the masses are in jail. Some of the masses are working class people. Some are in public houses. Some are in homes. Some are, the masses of our people will rise up and recognize that leadership that's authentic, sincere, and honest. And they'll know who's manipulating for self-interest.
Councilman, I have a leader. She is Veronica Keitt. She has informed me that you have to go to a meeting, so we need to say goodbye to you. But I want to ask you one question, and you can answer very, very succinctly, very briefly. As a council person, as a politician, how optimistic are you that we can either eliminate or put a substantive damper on stop and frisk, and how optimistic are you that we will eliminate the stand your ground laws?
I have even a greater piece of optimism. Capitalism will fail. No form of our oppression is permanent. It's all temporary. Just like the Roman Empire was temporary, the British Empire was temporary, apartheid was temporary, slavery in the plantations was temporary, Jim Crow is temporary to some extent. I think all of those forms of oppression are temporary, and we are going to win. There's no way this system can survive. The poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer, and there are smaller numbers of rich and larger numbers of poor, struggling working class people. That is the condition for an uprising, for a radical change in this country, and it is inevitable. So I'm extremely optimistic. When I go out here, I don't be blinded by what I see right before me, or don't buy into the invincibility of those who are oppressing you. Their days are numbered.
Councilman Barron, I want to thank you so much for calling in. You are very insightful. We know you got to get back to your meeting, so go on to your meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
And Brother Shaka, you know I'm going to be there with y'all for the September, 6th, 7th, 8th. I'll be there for all of those events.
Yes, sir.
And
I
want to support that 100%.
Yes, sir. And thank you for coming out the other day for Brother Hannibal. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. That was magnificent.
All right now.
All right. Shaka Shakure, obviously I have to apologize because we had phones up the wazoo, but we only have so much show, and this has been like an event-filled show. But we're running out of time. We only got like about a minute and a half left, and I have this brother here who has been so gracious. Tell us what you're doing, how we can help you. It's all you for the next...
As usual, you know, the People Survival Program, we're based in the Sada Shakure Center in City College, and we have a center that's open for the people.
Where's City College?
That's on 137th in Amsterdam or Broadway. I mean on Convent, excuse me. Amsterdam Convent. In Manhattan, we're in room 3201. On Tuesday nights, I teach a political education and culture class. We have a law class on Mondays, and we're establishing a health class. So we want anybody who has any skills that they want to give up an hour or two to teach the community, we have the space. We're going to reestablish the Janame University, which is our independent school for the youth.
Excellent.
So these are the things we're pushing, and September 7th is one of the ways we will get it out to the broader base. I'm happy to say that the People's Survival Program now exists in Detroit. It has duplicated itself in Columbus, Ohio, and is moving across the country slowly but surely, because like the councilman said, when we address the conditions, we reach the people.
Right.
You know, that's the bottom line. If we don't address people's conditions, they're not going to come out for nothing because they can't. You know, and we have to understand that. And, you know, I can never speak without talking about political prisoners. That's a very big issue to us because it ties into mass incarceration, which is the 2000 form of slavery.
Oh, God, we can't even get into all this.
Exactly. So these are all the issues we talk about at the school and we teach. And, you know, especially with the situation in housing right now in NYCHA, we are actually offering vocational classes where we can teach.
Okay, we got like less than 30 seconds. You can start the music kind of low. Tell them when the march is going to be, and tell them when they can come to the people's...
the march is going to be September 6th, 7th, and 8th on 125th and Malcolm X and Adam Clayton, excuse me. And every Tuesday night, you can come to the City College, to the Sada Shakure Guillermo Morales Center, and that's on 137th and Amsterdam Avenue. Use that exit and you get right to us.
Tuesday night, what time?
7 o'clock, 7 to 9.
7 o'clock, and call me. I'll give you the information. I want to thank this brother for coming in. I want to thank Charles Barron. I want to thank you for tuning us out. Veronica Keitt, David X, Sheila Berry, Lou Sierra in there. Peace, we out.